Imagine loving someone who keeps their heart locked behind walls you can't see, walls built so carefully that even they sometimes forget what's inside. Imagine waiting for signs, searching for proof, wondering if you're just another temporary chapter in their life or something much deeper. If you've ever been close to an avoidant, you know how confusing, intoxicating, and emotionally draining it can feel. But here's the truth most people never talk about. When an avoidant truly sees you as the one, something profound happens inside them. Their instincts scream to pull away, yet their heart quietly whispers that you are worth the risk. And in that battle, their behavior changes in subtle but powerful ways. Today we're diving into the first signs that reveal when an avoidant isn't just interested, isn't just attached, but truly sees you as the person they could never replace. Avoidant attachment is not about being cold, heartless, or incapable of love. It's about survival patterns learned long before they met you. Avoidance learned, often unconsciously, that closeness leads to pain, that vulnerability invites loss, and that independence equals safety. So they built an emotional fortress. They learned to detach, to rationalize, to minimize their needs, and to avoid depending on anyone. To them, love is both beautiful and terrifying. And when they meet someone who feels different, someone who touches something deep inside them, it can feel like standing on the edge of a cliff. They want to jump, but fear the fall. That's why most avoidants rarely see anyone as the one. Because the one means surrendering control, letting someone matter, and opening a door they spent their entire life keeping closed. For an avoidant, seeing someone as the one is not a fairy tale. It's a psychological earthquake. Their system is wired to avoid deep attachment, so when they feel it, their mind tries to shut it down. They may feel overwhelmed, restless, or even tempted to sabotage the connection. They may question their feelings, distance themselves, or search for flaws in you to justify pulling away. But when they truly see you as irreplaceable, something inside them shifts. The fear doesn't disappear, but the desire to keep you becomes stronger than the urge to escape. And that's where the first sign begins. The first thing an avoidant will only do if they see you as the one is that they consistently choose you over their avoidance. This is not about one emotional conversation or one moment of vulnerability. This is about repeated, conscious effort to stay, to engage, and to not run when things get intense. Normally, when emotions rise, when conflict appears, or when they feel too close, their instinct is to shut down, withdraw, or disappear. But with you, they hesitate. They feel the urge to pull away, but they don't fully give in to it. They stay in the conversation a little longer. They respond instead of ghosting. They come back after needing space instead of ending things. This may look small from the outside, but inside it is monumental. It means they are fighting their own programming, because losing you feels worse than facing their fear. Emotionally, this is one of the deepest internal battles an avoidant can experience. Their nervous system is telling them that closeness is dangerous, that independence is safer, that attachment equals pain. Yet their heart is telling them that you matter, that you are different, that this connection is worth protecting. So they sit with discomfort. They stay in the conversation even when their chest feels tight. They listen even when their mind wants to shut down. They don't fully disappear, even when every part of them wants to retreat into solitude. When an avoidant consistently chooses you over their avoidance, it's not accidental. It's love in its rawest, most conflicted form. The second thing an avoidant will only do if they see you as the one is that they start sharing their inner world with you. Avoidants are masters of surface-level connection. They can talk about work, hobbies, opinions, and theories, but when it comes to their fears, wounds, insecurities, and emotional history, they often keep that locked away. Vulnerability feels like exposure. It feels like giving someone the power to hurt them. So when they begin to open up about their childhood, their past relationships, their fears of abandonment or suffocation, their dreams they never told anyone, it's a massive sign. It means they trust you with the parts of themselves they normally hide from the world. Emotionally, this is terrifying for them. Sharing their inner world means removing the armor. It means letting you see the parts they believe are weak, broken, or unlovable. Many avoidants learned early on that expressing emotions led to disappointment or rejection, so they buried those feelings to survive. When they tell you about their pain, their confusion, or their longing, they are breaking a lifelong pattern. They are saying, "You are safe enough to see me." That level of trust is rare, sacred, and deeply meaningful. It means you are not just someone they enjoy, you are someone they emotionally recognize as significant. The third thing an avoidant will only do if they see you as the one is that they let you into their future plans. Normally, avoidants live in the present or keep their future intentionally vague. Planning a future with someone feels like a trap to their independence. It feels like losing escape routes, so they avoid talking about commitment, long-term goals, or shared dreams. But when they start mentioning future trips, living arrangements, shared projects, or long-term visions that include you, something profound is happening. They are no longer seeing you as temporary. They are imagining a life where you are still there. This is emotionally massive for an avoidant. It means they are allowing themselves to emotionally attach to a future outcome, which goes against their instinct to avoid dependence. It means they are letting their heart invest in a timeline that includes you. This creates vulnerability because if the relationship ends, it will hurt deeply. Avoidants often avoid this pain by not attaching to the future. So when they include you in their future, they are saying, "I'm willing to risk heartbreak for this connection." That is not casual. That is not temporary. That is a sign of deep emotional significance. The fourth thing an avoidant will only do if they see you as the one is that they start prioritizing your emotional needs. Avoidants often struggle with emotional attunement. They may feel overwhelmed by others' feelings or unsure how to respond. Their instinct is often to detach, minimize, or rationalize emotions instead of engaging with them. But when they truly care, they begin to check in. They ask how you feel. They adjust their behavior when they see you're hurt. They try to understand your emotional language. They may not be perfect, but the effort is real. Emotionally, this is a huge shift. It requires them to step outside their comfort zone and into emotional intimacy. It means they are learning to care, not just about their own space and boundaries, but about your inner experience. For an avoidant, this can feel overwhelming because it requires emotional presence and responsiveness, something they were never taught. But when they see you as the one, they are willing to learn, they are willing to stretch themselves, they are willing to become more emotionally available, not because you forced them, but because losing you would hurt more than the discomfort of growth. The fifth thing an avoidant will only do if they see you as the one is that they let their guard down physically and emotionally. Avoidants often keep a subtle emotional distance, even in close relationships. They may be affectionate, but emotionally detached, physically present, but mentally distant. But when they truly feel safe, their energy changes, they become softer, their touch becomes more present, their tone becomes warmer, they linger longer, they stay closer. They allow intimacy without immediately pulling away afterward. They don't just share space, they share presence. Emotionally, this is one of the clearest signs of trust. Letting someone close means risking dependence, vulnerability, and emotional pain. Avoidants often fear losing themselves in relationships, so they keep distance to maintain control. When they allow closeness without retreat, they are saying, "I feel safe with you." They are allowing themselves to be seen, felt, and connected. This is not something they do lightly. This is something they do when their heart recognizes something rare. And if you're watching this, wondering whether an avoidant in your life sees you as the one, remember this: these signs are not about perfection, they are about consistency. An avoidant who truly sees you as significant will not just say they care, they will show it through effort, vulnerability, and presence. They will fight their own instincts to stay connected. They will let you into their inner world. They will imagine a future with you. They will try to meet your emotional needs, and they will allow closeness without running. These are not small changes. These are emotional revolutions. But also remember this: you are not responsible for changing someone. You are not responsible for healing their wounds or proving your worth. If an avoidant truly sees you as the one, they will move toward you, not away from you. They will grow, not stagnate, and they will choose connection, even when it scares them. If this resonates with you, stay with me, because the next signs go even deeper into the avoidant mind and what it truly means when they see you as irreplaceable. Where we left off, you were beginning to see a pattern that most people miss. When an avoidant truly sees you as the one, love doesn't arrive as grand gestures or dramatic confessions. It shows up as quiet courage. It shows up in moments where they would normally disappear, but don't. And now we move into signs that go even deeper, signs that reveal a profound internal shift that only happens when an avoidant feels emotionally anchored to someone they cannot afford to lose. The sixth thing an avoidant will only do if they see you as the one is that they seek your presence during stress instead of isolating. This is one of the most overlooked yet powerful signs. Avoidants are known for retreating when life becomes overwhelming. Stress, pressure, emotional overload, these are triggers that usually send them into silence, distance, or emotional shutdown. Their coping mechanism has always been self-reliance. Handle it alone. Don't burden anyone. Don't need anyone. Don't need anyone. But when they see you as emotionally safe, that instinct begins to change. Instead of pulling away when they're overwhelmed, they gravitate toward you. They may not always say exactly what they need, but they reach out, they sit next to you, they call, they text, they share fragments of what they're dealing with. And for an avoidant, this is not weakness, it's trust. Emotionally, this represents a complete rewiring of their attachment system. Stress usually activates an avoidant's fear of dependence. They believe needing someone makes them vulnerable to disappointment or loss. So when they choose you in moments of stress, they are allowing themselves to rely on you emotionally. That means they see you not as a threat to their independence, but as a source of stability. You become their emotional anchor, not their emotional cage. And that shift only happens when they feel deeply bonded. When an avoidant seeks comfort in your presence instead of solitude, it means your energy soothes their nervous system. It means your presence regulates them. It means on a subconscious level, they feel safer with you than without you. The seventh thing an avoidant will only do if they see you as the one is that they actively work on themselves because of you. This is perhaps the rarest sign of all. Avoidants are not easily motivated to change their emotional patterns. They've survived by being the way they are. Their defenses worked once, so letting them go feels dangerous. But when an avoidant realizes that their patterns could cost them you, something shifts. They begin to reflect. They begin to acknowledge their avoidance. They may talk about wanting to communicate better, wanting to understand themselves more, wanting to heal. They may read, reflect, journal, or even consider therapy, not because they're broken, but because this connection matters. Emotionally, this is huge. Growth requires vulnerability. It requires self-awareness. It requires admitting that some patterns are rooted in fear, not strength. For an avoidant, this can feel deeply uncomfortable. It means confronting emotions they've spent years avoiding. But love has a way of bringing truth to the surface. When an avoidant sees you as the one, the fear of staying the same becomes greater than the fear of changing. They don't want to lose you to their own emotional walls, so they begin to dismantle them, slowly, imperfectly, but sincerely. This is not something they do for just anyone. This is something they do when their heart is fully involved. Now let's go deeper into what this actually feels like on the inside for an avoidant. When they see you as the one, their emotional world becomes a paradox. They feel love and fear at the same time, desire and panic, connection and vulnerability. Their heart wants closeness, but their nervous system is still wired for distance. This can create internal confusion. They may feel emotionally flooded. They may question themselves. They may need space at times, not because they don't care, but because they care so deeply that it overwhelms them. And this is important to understand. An avoidant who truly loves you is not indifferent. They are conflicted. Emotionally, they may think about you more than they admit. They may replay conversations. They may worry about hurting you. They may fear that they're not enough, even if they never say it out loud. Seeing you as the one makes them confront their deepest fears, the fear of abandonment, the fear of losing control, the fear of being truly seen. And yet, despite all of this, they stay. They return. They keep choosing the connection. That's not avoidance. That's bravery. But here's where clarity becomes crucial. Not every avoidant who shows moments of vulnerability sees you as the one. And not every emotional opening means long-term commitment. This is where many people get trapped, confusing potential with proof. An avoidant might open up once, plan something once, or show affection once, But what matters is consistency. Real love shows up repeatedly, not occasionally. An avoidant who truly sees you as irreplaceable will show these behaviors over time, especially when things get hard. They won't be perfect, but they will be present. They won't always know how to express love, but they will try. They won't disappear indefinitely when things get uncomfortable. They will come back, repair, and reconnect. Emotionally, this distinction is everything. You should never have to chase someone into loving you. You should never have to convince someone of your worth. If an avoidant truly sees you as the one, their actions will align with that truth. They will move toward you, even when it scares them. They will grow, even when it's uncomfortable, and they will choose connection, even when their instincts tell them to run. And if you're listening to this and wondering where you stand, let me say this gently but clearly. Your worth is not determined by someone else's capacity to love. You can be extraordinary and still be with someone who isn't ready. You can be deeply loving and still not be chosen fully. That doesn't mean you weren't enough. It means they weren't ready. When an avoidant sees you as the one, you won't have to guess. You won't have to decode mixed signals. You won't have to beg for consistency. Their fear may still exist, but their effort will be undeniable. So stay with me, because in the final part, we'll talk about the biggest mistake people make with avoidance, how to protect your heart, and how to recognize whether what you're experiencing is real love or just emotional almosts that keep you stuck. You've made it this far, which means this topic is personal to you. Maybe you've loved someone who kept one foot out the door. Maybe you felt the emotional push and pull that leaves you questioning your reality. Or maybe you're just trying to understand the psychology behind someone who seems emotionally distant yet deeply connected at the same time. Wherever you are, I want you to know that what you're feeling is valid. Loving an avoidant can feel like loving a mystery. And when they start showing signs of seeing you as the one, it can feel both beautiful and terrifying. One of the most profound shifts that happens when an avoidant truly sees you as the one is the way they start to respond to emotional closeness. Normally, closeness triggers their alarm system. They feel suffocated, trapped, or pressured. Their instinct is to pull away, to create distance, to emotionally shut down. But when they deeply care, something subtle changes. They still feel the fear, but they don't interpret closeness as danger in the same way. Instead of feeling trapped, they start to feel grounded. Instead of feeling suffocated, they start to feel connected. Instead of feeling the urge to escape, they feel the urge to stay. Emotionally, this shift is massive. It means their nervous system is beginning to associate love with safety instead of threat. That doesn't happen overnight. It happens through consistent emotional safety, patience, and mutual respect. When an avoidant sees you as the one, they may still need space at times, but their space is no longer a rejection of you. It's a regulation tool. They come back, they re-engage, they repair. They don't emotionally erase you during distance. They keep you in their emotional awareness, even when they're physically or mentally stepping back. Another deeply revealing sign is how they respond to conflict. Avoidants often hate conflict because it brings up intense emotions they don't know how to process. Their default response is to shut down, stonewall, or disengage. But when they truly care, they start to handle conflict differently. They may still struggle, but they don't vanish. They may need breaks, but they return. They listen. They try to understand your perspective. They admit when they're wrong. This doesn't mean they become perfect communicators, but it means they choose the relationship over their defense mechanisms. Emotionally, this is one of the clearest indicators of love. Conflict is where most avoidants detach, so when they stay emotionally present during hard conversations, it means you matter enough for them to tolerate discomfort. They are choosing growth over avoidance. They are choosing connection over control. And that choice is not easy for them. It requires courage, humility, and emotional maturity that they may never have been taught. When an avoidant sees you as the one, their internal narrative about relationships also begins to change. Instead of seeing relationships as limiting, they begin to see them as supportive. Instead of fearing dependence, they begin to see interdependence as strength. Instead of believing that love equals loss of self, they begin to realize that love can coexist with autonomy. This cognitive shift is subtle, but powerful. You may hear them say things like, "I'm not used to feeling this connected," or "This feels different from what I expected," or "I didn't think I could feel this way." These are not just compliments, these are signs that their core beliefs about love are being rewritten. Emotionally, rewriting those beliefs is a vulnerable process. It requires them to confront past wounds, unmet needs, and protective strategies that once kept them safe. Seeing you as the one means they are willing to challenge those old stories. It means they are allowing themselves to imagine a version of love that is safe, stable, and deeply connected. And that is both exhilarating and terrifying for someone who has spent their life relying on emotional distance. Another powerful sign is how they integrate you into their life. Avoidants often compartmentalize relationships. They may keep partners separate from friends, family, or personal routines, but when they see you as deeply significant, they start blending worlds. They introduce you to their inner circle. They include you in their routines. They share parts of their life they usually keep private. This is not just convenience, this is emotional inclusion. It means they are allowing you into spaces that feel personal and vulnerable. Emotionally, this inclusion represents trust. It means they are no longer protecting every corner of their life from emotional entanglement. They are allowing you to see how they live, how they think, how they relate to others. This transparency is a sign that they are no longer just dating you, they are integrating you, and integration is one of the deepest forms of attachment. When an avoidant truly sees you as the one, they also become more emotionally expressive in subtle ways. They may not suddenly become overly emotional or poetic, but they start expressing care in their own language. They check in, they remember details, they do small things that make your life easier. They show up when you need them. They may struggle with words, but their actions begin to speak louder. This is their way of saying, "You matter to me," even if saying those exact words feels uncomfortable. Emotionally, these small gestures are huge. Avoidants often show love through actions rather than words. They may not verbalize their feelings easily, but they demonstrate commitment through consistency. When they consistently show up, follow through, and make you a priority, it means their attachment has moved from casual to significant. It means they are investing emotionally, not just logically. But here's something important to understand. Even when an avoidant sees you as the one, their fear does not vanish. Love does not erase attachment wounds, it brings them to the surface. So you may still see moments of withdrawal, moments of confusion, moments of emotional distance. The difference is not the absence of fear. The difference is their willingness to work through it instead of abandoning the connection. They may need reassurance, they may need space, they may need time to process, but they won't emotionally abandon you in the same way they would with someone they don't deeply care about. Emotionally, this is where many people misinterpret avoidance. They think love should look a certain way: constant closeness, constant reassurance, constant emotional expression. But for an avoidant, love looks like staying when they want to run. It looks like opening up when they want to shut down. It looks like choosing connection when their nervous system screams for distance. That's why their love can be hard to recognize, but deeply real. If you're listening to this and feeling seen, I want to remind you of something important. You are not here to decode breadcrumbs. You are not here to survive on partial love. You are not here to shrink yourself to fit someone's fear. If an avoidant truly sees you as the one, their actions will become clearer over time. You won't be left in constant confusion. You won't be questioning your worth every day. You won't be carrying the emotional labor alone. They will meet you, even if imperfectly, in the middle. And in the next part, we'll go even deeper into the final truths about avoidance and love, the biggest traps people fall into, and how to protect your heart while still staying open to deep connection. If you're still here, it means this topic is touching something real inside you. Maybe you've been waiting for signs. Maybe you've been hoping someone would finally choose you fully. Or maybe you're trying to make sense of a connection that feels deep and confusing at the same time. Whatever your story is, this final part is meant to ground you, empower you, and help you see love more clearly, especially when it comes from someone who struggles with closeness. When an avoidant truly sees you as the one, something remarkable happens beneath the surface. They don't just change their behavior, they change how they experience love itself. Love no longer feels like a threat to their identity. It starts to feel like an expansion of who they are. They begin to see that connection doesn't erase them, it enriches them. And that realization is deeply emotional because it challenges everything they believed about relationships. Inside, they may feel a strange mix of fear and devotion. They may crave closeness, but still feel overwhelmed by it. They may want to be held and yet feel the urge to pull away. This internal tug-of-war is exhausting, but when you are the one, they don't want to walk away from it. They want to understand it. They want to stay. They want to grow. That's the difference. You might notice them reflecting more on themselves. They may say things like, "I'm not good at this," or "I'm trying to be better with emotions," or "this is new for me." These are not excuses. These are confessions. These are signs that they are aware of their limitations and that your presence is pushing them toward emotional honesty. Awareness is the first step toward healing, and for many avoidants, love is what finally brings that awareness into the light. But here's the truth that many people don't want to hear. Not every avoidant who feels deeply will become secure. Love alone does not heal attachment wounds. Effort, self-awareness, and willingness to change are required. So while it's beautiful when an avoidant sees you as the one, it's equally important to observe whether they are actually moving toward emotional growth or just staying in the same cycle with deeper feelings. This brings us to one of the biggest traps people fall into: mistaking intensity for intimacy. Avoidants can feel intense emotions. They can miss you deeply. They can think about you constantly. But intensity without consistency is not love. It's emotional turbulence. Real love is stable. It is consistent. It is grounded in action, not just feeling. So when you're trying to understand whether an avoidant truly sees you as the one, look at what they do over time, not what they feel in a moment. Another trap is hoping that being the one will magically change them. It won't. You can be deeply loved and still be with someone who struggles to show up. You can be cherished internally and still experience emotional distance externally. That's why your boundaries matter. That's why your needs matter. That's why your standards matter. Being the one does not mean accepting emotional starvation. It means being chosen in real, tangible ways. If an avoidant truly sees you as irreplaceable, you will feel it in their effort. You will feel it in their willingness to communicate, to repair, to stay present during discomfort. You will feel it in their consistency. You will feel it in their growth. And most importantly, you will feel it in your nervous system. You will feel calmer, not constantly anxious. You will feel secure, not constantly guessing. Love should not feel like a puzzle you have to solve every day. Let's talk about what it actually feels like when an avoidant sees you as the one. It feels like slow, cautious opening. It feels like quiet devotion. It feels like someone who is learning to love in real time. It may not be dramatic or poetic, but it is sincere. They may not always have the words, but their presence becomes steadier. They may not always know how to respond, but they try. And in their own way they are saying, "You matter more than my fear." At the same time, it's important to remember that you are not a therapist, a healer, or a savior. You are a partner. You deserve mutual effort. You deserve emotional availability. You deserve clarity. Loving an avoidant can be deeply rewarding, but only when they are also willing to meet you halfway. You should never sacrifice your emotional well-being to prove your worth. If you're currently in a connection with an avoidant and wondering where you stand, ask yourself this: do their actions make you feel safe, valued, and chosen? Or do you feel confused, anxious, and constantly waiting? Your feelings are data. They are signals. They matter. You deserve a relationship where love is not hidden behind walls you can't climb. And if you've ever felt like you weren't the one for someone who was avoidant, I want you to hear this clearly. That does not define your value. Avoidants often struggle to see anyone fully because of their own wounds. You could be everything and still not be received. That is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of their capacity at that moment. So as we close this, remember this message. When an avoidant truly sees you as the one, they will choose you, even when it scares them. They will grow, even when it's uncomfortable. They will stay, even when their instincts tell them to run. And you will feel the difference. Love will feel more stable, more grounded, more real, You are not here to chase love. You are here to be chosen by it, and the right person, avoidant or not, will not make you question whether you matter. They will show you in quiet, consistent ways that you are irreplaceable. If this resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on your own relationships, your own needs, and your own worth. And remember, being the one is not about being perfect. It's about being real, being seen, and being chosen, again and again.